In today's video we are taking a first look at the kind of newly released Mkm Knives Mikro 1 and 2, designed by Voxnäs, manufactured in Italy by Mkm. So we have two of these boxes here. We're going to do an unboxing, or well, we're going to do two unboxings, of course. We're going to take a look at Mikro 1 with a drop point, and the Mikro 2 with a sheep's foot design. Both of these are in green canvas micarta. So let's start by unboxing this first one. Open a box like this. We see a small leather sheath. Initially when I saw this design and heard about this knife, I was, for sure they were gonna go with a Kydex sheath. Would have made a lot of sense, but having seen this this leather sheath, it is actually quite nice and sturdy. You have some strong magnet here, so there is absolutely no risk of the knife falling out of the sheath. Then we have, of course, the knife itself. As you can see, this is not a very big knife. It is a neck knife. So, and since it is a neck knife, you also get a sort of a lanyard here, or neck lanyard of sorts, to go with well, either the sheath or maybe even through the lanyard hole, if that is what you prefer. In this box you also get a small Torx tool here if you want to remove the scales here. You can, of course, this one is being sold in a few different types of scales, micarta, G10, carbon fiber, but you can also get it without any scales, like a blank instead. And should you want that, you can just remove the scale using this small Torx tool included. And then you get some, just some random paperwork here with the Maniago knife makers, so Mkm. Let's take a look at the sheep's foot version as well. This, or we can, let's put it in here as well. So the sheath, let's see if we can get a close up here, what it looks like. Not going anywhere. Looks kind of stylish. Kind of cute in a way as well, but perhaps more stylish. So let's take a look at the sheep's foot version as well. So you're gonna have the exact same contents in here. Torx tool, the sheath, the neck lanyard here, and the knife itself, but this time you're gonna have a sheep's foot blade design. Put it in the sheath as well. And there we have them. Yeah. Let's go for a more close-up look here and go over the specs. So we will start by unsheathing both knives. Like that. Try to get them as visible as possible in the camera. Not sure if we should zoom in even more. Regardless, so usually with Mkm, or at least in my experience with Mkm, the knives tend to be made in one of my favorite steels for folders and for small fixed blades, and that is M390, and this is no exception. They are both made in M390. So you're gonna get a steel with a really high corrosion resistance. You're gonna get pretty amazing edge retention, and you're gonna get knives that are fairly sharp as well. The only downside here with M390 is that if you manage to completely dull the knives, you're gonna have to work a bit to put that, that scary sharp edge back on them. But other than that, it is a great, in my opinion, a great steel. So we have a drop point and we have a sheep's foot design. Other than that, they are or should be similar in total overall length and weight and all that stuff. We have a flat blade grind on both of these. Not sure how well it can be seen. Maybe it can be seen, maybe it can't. The total length of these are 110 millimeters. So it is 10 centimeter. 11 centimeters in total length. So this is not a big knife. The blade length on both of these is 50 millimeters. So you got 5 centimeters of blade length. Here comes an interesting aspect. The blade thickness of these two is in fact 4 millimeters. That is, that's quite thick for a blade this small. So it is a very, a very compact knife. Very, very compact. The weight of this one, or both of these, should be 40 grams. But we can test that since I did bring a scale with me here. So let's see what the exact weight of these two are. Let's see. $37 grams. $35 grams. So slightly lighter than the specified weight. Not that I think that anyone is going to complain about it being a few grams lighter than what is specified. I think most people appreciate a knife, a neck knife, to be as light as possible. So that's that. What more can be said here? Made in Italy, since it is indeed made by Mkm. So maybe we should focus a bit on the actual size here and the ergos of the knife, since this is a very small knife. So first things first, I have size 10 in gloves. I have fairly large hands. I realize now that I should maybe zoom out a bit, so give me just a second here. So, size 10 in gloves. How does this knife fit in my hand? So, as you can see, it's not really a 3-finger grip, more like 2.5. Can probably be seen here. This finger choil here is quite, large and smooth. Fits my finger perfectly this way. So gripping it like this, using some of the jimping here as well for extra, you know, friction. And this jimping is actually pretty aggressive, you know, yeah, I mean, you get your finger kind of stuck, depending on how hard you press. So like this, I do feel like I have a firm grip of the knife, despite it being so small. This one is not going to, you know, fall out of my hand, or, I mean, it is quite secure. And even if I don't use the jimping area, it's still, you know, it's not really going anywhere, despite being so small. There's also no, you know, I don't feel any hot spot or anything. It is rounded a bit here. So this is not a sharp edge, but it's still not, you know, maybe it could have been even more rounded, perhaps, but it's not an issue because it doesn't, you know, it doesn't bother me in the least, you know. But overall it is, I mean, it is, you have a rounded spine. The spine is rounded. All the areas here are rounded. It makes for good comfort. You got jimping here, and you also got some jimping here on the back, making, you know, giving some more friction to it. So despite the small size, it does feel quite, actually surprisingly, comfortable in my hand. And the same goes, of course, for the Mkm Mikro 1 with the drop point, since the ergos are, I mean, more or less the same. And one interesting aspect here, I did feel, you know, I do feel like this one is slightly sharper here at the choil, and it is. Let's see how this is going to be difficult here to view, I think. But this area is a bit thinner here on this one than on this one. It's going to be super tricky to see the difference here. I don't think it can be seen, sort of. But you have a slightly, you know, thicker area here than you do here. But regardless, this area, let's see, the blade here has not been sharpened all the way here. So, I mean, even if you have large fingers and you go a little bit over the finger groove, you will not cut your finger here because it is indeed non-sharpened. It's not sharpened all the way down. And that is a good thing. And as you can see here, perhaps this is the area that is a bit thicker here on this one compared to on this one. Not an issue at all, but it was noticeable, but it's definitely not an issue in any way. Non-sharpened, so. Let's see, I was also planning on some size comparisons here as well. I mean, this is my smallest knife that I own. I own a lot of knives, but this is the smallest one, and I'm gonna make, you know, focus here, not focus, I'm gonna zoom in just a bit here again. Hold on. So, these are very small knives. So to get a feeling of the size, my second smallest fixed blade is this one. This is the prototype Rascal made by Bark River, and that used to be, you know, my absolute smallest blade, but as you can see, it is now my third smallest knife after these two. Damn, I'm not good at placing things in the camera. Is this better? Perhaps. We also, if I take my smallest folder, it's going to be my my Spyderco Dragonfly 2. And that one, let's see where we're going to place it. I'm trying to go with a more, you know, top view of the knives to get, you know, a better feeling of the size here. So as I stated, this was previously my smallest fixed blade, the prototype Rascal from Bark River, and the Spyderco Dragonfly 2 was, or is, my smallest folder. But as you can see, both of these are indeed smaller than them. So this is a small knife, but as I stated, they managed to make it a very comfortable knife and a very compact knife, given the blade thickness. Let's see. Let's compare like the thickness here. You can see that it's like there's quite a difference in thickness here with it's difficult with the Dragonfly here, and I think the thickness of the Rascal is, well, this is a really thick knife actually. These are about roughly the same thickness, but this one is in L-Max, and this one is in M390. And in this case, I do prefer M390 over L-Max, and I also prefer it over the I guess this is CPMS 35. No, wait, this is actually a VG10. So I definitely prefer M390 over VG10. But I mean, it's a bit, you know, comparing apples and oranges, so to say. So I mean, it's not a fair comparison. But comparing L-Max to M390, that is fair game in my opinion. So, but that is probably it for the you know, unboxing, the specs, the overview, the comparison of sorts. I am going to bring these knives with me today or this weekend to try them out a bit. It won't be, you know, a burden carrying these two knives because, well, I mean, they don't weigh anything. They weigh below 40 grams each, so it's not it's not a big issue. We could maybe put them on the scale in their respective leather sheets here and see what the total weight is. Let's do that. 56 grams, 59 grams. So I can probably live with that weight, to be honest. It's not gonna be an issue. So that is it for the unboxing and the overlook. Next time we take a look at these, I'm going to be in a totally different environment. Maybe we should do a paper slicing test before I head out. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go for a slicing test. Okay, let's do some paper slicing. We have some fairly thin magazine paper and then some thicker style small note paper, perhaps. I'm not quite sure what you call it, but yeah. So let's start with the drop point here and a piece of this note paper. So then we go with the sheep's foot and the note paper. So they are both slicing this paper quite well. I did feel a slight difference slicing with the sheep's foot. Not a major thing. And then we go with this paper. It's maybe I'm gonna have to zoom out a bit here. Like this. It's kind of hard to get it to show in the camera. Like this, yeah. So this one will slice, but it's not, 100% effortless. I think that if I put this one on the strop for like not long at all, it will probably be really sharp. Right now it is sharp, as you can see, but it could definitely be a bit sharper. So let's see with the sheep's foot. Like I said, I felt like this one sure felt sharper, so let's see how it does on this one. So the sheep's foot version here is, as you can see, the sharper one of the two. I mean, when you buy a knife, there's always going to be, like if they make 100 ones of this one, not all of them are going to be exactly equally sharp. I think they're all going to hopefully be sharp, but some are going to be sharper than others. And this one is sharper than the drop point version. But this one, it's not, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with this one, with the blade design or anything, or this being a sheep's foot design. It's just, it's just variations, I'd say, when sharpening the knife. So if like I said, if I were to put this one on a strop here for a few seconds, I'm sure I could get like equal results. Still, this one will, I mean, it's gonna slice paper, of course. I mean, it's just that it's not quite as sharp as the sheep's foot version, but still, definitely still sharp enough. And how sharp you want your knives to be, well, that is always going to be, up for discussion. What is sharp enough and what is not sharp enough. But this will conclude the indoor testing here of sorts. So we are now out in the wild with these two knives. So we are safe against most things in the woods and in all, well, survival scenarios, etc., making fires and stuff. Or are we? I mean, what is really the purpose of knives such as these two? Yes, we have gone through the specs. We know they are, comfortable knives. We know that they are sharp. They are made in a great steel. They slice paper well. But in reality, what are you going to use these knives for? I think most people are going to use it to, cut up boxes, tape, etc. Maybe some cord and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not really an outdoors knife by that definition. But I want to see if we can do some outdoor tasks, like doing some feathers and stuff. I have gotten lost in the woods here, it's getting cold and dark and we want to have a fire going. We do have maybe a fire steel or some matches with us. We just need some nice feathers. So yeah, let's see if we can do that. So I picked up some different small twigs and sticks here of different wood type. So let's see if we can get some feathers going. Might need to zoom in even further. So let's see what we can do with our tiny neck knife. So this could be the start of a fire. Too bad let's remove the bark here. Oops. Accidentally broke it. Doesn't matter. No! My fire starters. Oh, damn. So we are getting, I'm not sure how visible it is, but we are getting some really fine feathers. Let's see. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of fine feathers here. Surprisingly comfortable working with as well. This would work excellent as, like tinder or something like that to start a fire. So we do have an outdoor purpose for a small knife like this. Now we just need to baton some pieces of wood to put on the fire. And I mean the thickness, there's nothing wrong with the thickness, but the blade length, that might be an issue. And the handle length for that matter. So I guess in fact we're not gonna do any batoning, I believe. But this was a fun small test. So I picked up another tree type here and thought we could try the drop point Mikro on this one. So let's see if we can get some feather sticks from this material as well. Maybe just remove the actual bark first. No, I actually got some nice feathers there, but I accidentally dropped them. Oops, and again, see if I can get them up. Let's take a look. So we are getting some small tinder-like feathers here from this type of tree as well. Oops. See if we can remove some of that. Well, we keep losing it, but we do make feathers, so... And it's quite windy today, so it's not easy keeping it at this place. But this one will also make feathers. Try to be careful and get them stuck here now so we can actually take a look. I'm not sure if it's even visible in the camera, but it is feathers of sort, or curls more like. Now I lost them again due to the wind. But yeah, like small curls like that will make great for fire starter. Absolutely. And let's see, some curls again there, so oh yeah, maybe that is enough right now. It's too windy to keep it here, but yeah, some random tinder here to get a fire going. Then we can make a spear point stick here to put, well, I was gonna say like a hot dog, but it's more gonna be like a squirrel maybe, perhaps, trapped squirrel. So, oops, yeah, absolutely no focus. Now we've got some focus here. So you can do some light woodwork as well. Yeah, that's pretty pointy. Yeah, something like that. Try to make some notches and stuff. So, all in all, I guess that you can do more than you'd expect with a try to fit this in the camera, with a knife such as these two. Not only cutting like plastic wrap or tape or cord and stuff like that, but also some, you know, feathers, notches, pointed tips, etc. So more than meets the eye, I'd say, about this knife. My first neck knife ever. Then whether you want a sheep foot or a drop point, well, that's gonna be totally up to personal preferences. But regardless of which one you get, you will be able to do, well, everything that I've showed here, so it doesn't matter in the least which design you go with. And you can also probably do some field surgery with these knives should you have to, well, I don't know. There was this movie, what was it called? 127 Hours. Some guy got stuck with his arm under a rock and had to use his Swiss Army knife to cut the flesh off and then break the leg. This would have been a better knife to cut your arm off with, or the flesh, and then break your arm off. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind as well. Mkm Mikro 1, Mikro 2. Over and out.